became more than just about them, because he had an obligation to do right by that climbing the ladder, very successful Black woman.
Oh, he's climbing it.
Why did he have an obligation?
One thing we as men and as women need to start doing is understanding our roles and our obligation to one another. I'm obligated to my wife to be the very best man that I can be. I'm obligated to my daughter to be the very best father that I can be. Now, if obligation offends you, that's on you. But I have an obligation. And I'm going to fulfill that in which I'm obligated to do.
And you'd have did that obligation with or without a piece of paper.
Regardless, I would have done it.
So the contract is almost more for everybody else than it is for the people.
So Opal, Vonda, they were last no matter what.
In the moment of my life where I was at, yeah, she was last.
My wife is a benefactor. She's benefiting from my relationship with my Creator. She's a benefiter. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't have. It didn't matter who I married. I was going to be who I am.
Okay.
Regardless.
So was the obligation to her or to be a good? That's what we're trying to get to. So is that why you saying Stedman is obligated? Because as a Black man, you should be honorable to the Black woman.
To do right by that Black woman.
And if she happens to make $3 billion, then that's just a blessing.
If you are sorry,
no, I'm asking questions.
If you're a sorry ass piece of shit Black man, you ought to feel bad. You really should. I don't know how else to put that. I'm being as naked as I can be right now. You really ought to feel bad that
you spend a lot of time on this show naked. Just FYI.
You have nothing else to offer other than dick, or that you have nothing else to offer other than a paycheck.
That goes both ways, though.
There's so much more. You have so much more value as a man than your dick and your paycheck. But many of us feel that that's all that there is to fatherhood, manhood. I'm a provider. I'm going to provide dick, and I'm going to provide a paycheck.
So now let me go back to Will. So what I would argue that Will is cut from the cloth that we're talking about. That he provided more than those things that you just said. That he's tried to give guidance. He's tried to give leadership. He's tried to open up doors. He's tried.
What things you talking about that I just said?
The dick in the paycheck.
Oh,
you just want to hear me say it?
Just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one that was going to say it.
So at what point do you stop and say, I've tried?
If I have a determination to uplift the person that I married, depending on how deep that hole is as to how long it's going to take me to get above ground. What I can't do is get a halfway up and say, you know what, fuck this. I'm done. I'm gone. Now you've actually caused more damage than was there before you got there. I refuse to leave a shrapnel and damage behind me. When I leave, when I'm dead and gone, they're going to be able to say that nigga that did his part.
But I'm driving a Buick.
All right.
Okay. This is going to be interesting.
Driving it for 20 years.
All right.
Every 5 years, that goddamn engine go out. I'll put another one in. I'll drive it again. It just keep going out.
All right.
Keep getting it fixed. At some point, you getting rid of that Buick. Same thing with my relationship. If I constantly keep fixing it, I constantly keep working on it, I constantly do everything I can do. But that goddamn engine just will not stay fixed and don't want to stay fixed. Why would I?
I believe it was the prophetess Maya Angelou that told us that when people tell you who they are, you need to believe them.
You better believe them.
And the woman started the thing off like, "Hey, I really don't want to be married." And then she doubled down and said, "Hey, I really don't want to be married, even though I'm pregnant."
And because I know you want black men are raggedy, selfish, dirty asses. They got to do something to make sure we stay with our black women, uplift our black women. But God damn it, black women, you got to help too.
This is where it gets tricky for me because I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what else. So I had a thought today in a conversation that Chris Rock has a window that he can redeem the nation to the circumstances of the slap. And then once the window closes, he might be in trouble. And that window consists of Will's willingness to decide whether or not he is done in his circumstances or not. Because once Will comes forward and tells the truth about his circumstances and what he's been through, I believe and surmise that the nation will side with Will again.
Oh yeah, they're gonna side with Will. Hell yeah,
they're gonna side with Will. They want to side with him now, but it's hard to publicly because of the circumstances that he's in. But if Will comes out and says, "Listen, I've been emotionally abused by this woman for 20 plus years. I've tried to love her. I've tried to give her everything. I've tried. Kicking and screaming, I've tried. Bled to death, and I've tried. I've given her everything I possibly can give. I don't have anything left." You can pull a person out the mud, but you can't pull them out the concrete.
And I pray to God as I get on my knees. No, I ain't gonna get on my knees. My knees too bad.
Your knees bad, bro.
As I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna pray to God that never happens. Some things you need to just take to your grave.
Shit, she didn't take it to her grave.
And if you stayed and fought this long, continue to fight.
Hell no.
Well, why would you contradict yourself?
Come on.
Because you told us you have to speak those things that are hurting you, that are causing trauma. You have to speak those things to heal from those things. And now you're saying you hope he never says it?
Well, here's my point when I'm talking about that speaking part. In order for people to heal, you do have to speak that which troubled you, if you will. But as men, some things we need to just hold on to and take one for the team. Listen, to my core, I am.
How many should you take for the team?
I am a taker for the team to my core.
How many though? You said take one for the team.
I say take it for the team. Period. I'm talking about my one wife and my family. I will never put my wife out there as someone that's not redeemable. I will never do that.
But you like your wife. You love your wife.
Ho, who told you that lie?
But he might not like her no more.
Who told you that bullshit?
You love her.
You like her.
Don't speak for me.
You like it. You love it. You want some more of it.
Never put her out there as someone that's not.
But what if she puts herself out there?
But and that's commendable. But what if you're just simply saying, I am not the one that can redeem you? Maybe that's where
I am not the one that can redeem you. But it's my job to love you while you figure that out.
Maybe he can love her from a distance.
Whole nother state, another house.
I honestly believe we have love so twisted. I believe God's looking at us wondering what in the hell are we doing? Because too many of us have ourselves in mind versus the whole. You know how many of our grandparents or how many of our great grandparents suffered in their personal life, but they stayed together for the betterment of their family.
A lot.
But a lot of times it wasn't for the betterment of the family.
Well, that's because they had lack of education, but they stayed together.
But that dysfunction stay together bred more dysfunction.
Well, in some cases, it may have bred dysfunction, but in many cases, most of us that are looking back on it respect the fact that they stayed together.
I don't say we respect the fact that they stayed together. We're questioning the fact of why the hell did they stay together?
Well, there were definitely valuable lessons to be learned, in because what I learned from my grandparents, there's going to come a time when all you can do is sit next to one another and hold hands. Ain't no more grooving between the sheets. Ain't no more grinding on the dance floor. So you have to get beyond those surface, that surface love, so to speak, and appreciate the person who you with. So there were lessons to be learned. But I will say, and we keep speaking about or relating to God's love. Love your spouse like God loved us. Even God had limits.
Right.
I don't know, and I'm sure somebody can find it and set me straight. But even God had boundaries to his forgiveness. Unforgivable sins, I believe, is what they speak of. Matthew and Luke, when they talk about rejecting the Spirit, blasphemy. Basically, that's what Jada's doing to Will. She's rejecting him.
And then then a certain angel get kicked out.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wonder, and again, if a person has laid out their love to the place that you're talking about, cuz, and the other person just flat out rejects it, it's never enough. At some point, don't you have to say, okay, this person is not going to accept me. And guess what? And that's okay. Because maybe I'm not the person to be able to bring you out of where you need to be. Maybe it's somebody else.
Well, listen, there are plenty of examples of that. Our divorce rate is not 10%.
No.
It's not 20%. There's plenty of examples of us saying, you know what? 2 tears in a bucket, motherfucker. I'm done. There's plenty of examples of that. And how has that worked for us as a community?
But you talk, okay, I hear you. And again, I respect that part of the conversation. The challenge that I have with this particular situation, and even with the adulterous situation that we're talking about, the man cheating on his wife, and he's constantly having to make up for the reprove himself, fight every night to prove my love. At what point does a person have to meet you halfway? Don't they have to meet you halfway? Don't they have to meet you at the point of forgiveness, at the point of reconciliation, at the point of working together, like Ron said, to where we're fighting for one another? The one thing that I'll tell you about Mama Noise didn't. She hasn't fallen alone, and I haven't fallen alone. We are in the foxhole together. We don't point the gun at each other. And it feels like Will got the guns of the world pointing at him, and he's in the foxhole with somebody that put a pistol in the back of his head.
There have been times in all of our marriages, if we're honest with ourselves and we sit still long enough, where we probably did feel like we were fighting alone.
Sure.
It may have not been for long stretches, but there have been times when you felt that person was so set in their ways, so stubborn, they wouldn't listen to you, wouldn't conform, wouldn't this, wouldn't that, didn't know how. You trying to teach and they're still not getting it. That's a part of marriage. That's a part of growing. I believe that we as a people have to do more fighting versus looking for reasons to run. And I believe that's what we're doing with Will and Jada.
But he's fighting.
That man can be as strong as he needs to be. But the more we keep talking about him and treating him as if, man, Will, man, you're kind of a fool. What's wrong with you, man?
I don't know if we're looking at him as a.
Your woman ain't fighting for you. You out here fighting by yourself, man. You look like a fucking idiot. I mean, that's really what we're telling him.
That's not what we're telling him.
Because let's take your adultery. Let's take your adultery, like you said. If your wife committed adultery on you now, you said you would leave.
Yes.
That's an unforgivable sin to you.
Yes.
Okay. So why wouldn't you stay and do what Will did?
Why say what now?
So why won't you stay and do what Will did? Adultery is his number one sin too.
Well, no, obviously it's not. He's been there.
Right. His wife has had somebody in her, and he stayed.
But in your case, you're saying you would go, so you wouldn't fight to keep that marriage.
Do we know if Will has cheated?
No, we don't.
We don't.
No.
It's highly likely that he has.
It's highly likely that he has.
There's a chance that he has.
It's possible.
Well,
but again, his shit didn't come out in public.
Now, if a man fights for a woman and never cheats, never has infidelity, I mean, not that we don't look now. We look, women. We look, Mama Noise. We look. But if I've never stepped out on our marriage and then you come along and you then got yourself into an entanglement, then probably a man wouldn't put up with that as much. I believe Will probably has some extramarital affairs.
But again, it's not you do something bad and then I could do something bad and we're gonna forget. No, man, that ain't how that shit works.
Tolerance level is greater.
Right.
The tolerance level is greater if you have done it. To a degree.
Your tolerance level is, but again, they was willing to work it out when he did it, but now she's not willing to work it out that she did it.
But here's the difference between the two cheats. Let's go down this road of Will is tit for tat. Who did Will cheat on? I mean, who did Will cheat with, rather?
Girl A. We're gonna call it Girl A.
That's my point. You guys made my point for me. Nobody knows. And everybody knows who she cheated on because she went to a fucking table and said, guess what, everybody? Alcohol Cena ran all up and through me.
Hell, he wrote a song about it.
It seems like Will is saying the mistakes that I'm making, I want to work out with you privately. She's saying, well, the mistakes that I'm making, I want to get these ratings.
And hence that could be the conversation. Whoa, you're not just going to just roll these cameras. I'm standing in my house.
That's a hard thing to do. Listen, cuz I'm with you. Fight for your marriage. I'm a biggest proponent of fight for your marriage. But I don't know if you need to fight the world and for your marriage.
So how you gonna say I'm the biggest proponent for fighting for marriage, but
that brother is fighting the world and for his marriage.
For fighting for marriage, I'm the biggest. But
and he's fighting alone. It appears he's fighting alone.
I can fill in that blank, but there are limitations, man. There comes a time when enough.
You all should have limitations, But we don't know if he's reached. We don't know if he's reached his.
Exactly, but there comes a time when, and maybe he has, and it's obvious he hasn't, or he would be in the public saying, you know what, I'm cutting this one loose, man.
Well, he's somewhere
anymore.
Al, he's somewhere because he's in a rehab center right now trying to figure out what his next step is.
And that can be attributed to he's still fighting.
And do we owe it to him as brothers to fight with him, to support him?
We owe him as brothers to make sure we give him the advice that we think is going to help him not kill his goddamn self.
You don't think that's where he's at? You don't think he's because I think Will.
We owe more to Will, and we owe more to Jada than we owe to their marriage. If their marriage is tearing him down, tearing him apart, then no, I'm not going to advocate fighting for that marriage.
No, that's a contract. I'm not going to advocate for him to fight for that contract.
If I knew him personally and we considered ourselves friends, my first question to Will would be, bruh, well, two questions. Where's your head at, man? Where's your heart?
Mama Noise, what's your thoughts on this? We didn't just dominate this thing.
Well,
situation.
The Bible says in regard to that, it just says in regard to infidelity, it is the will of the Father that you would forgive the having had the infidelity. But it also goes further that says, if you cannot, it's best that you do part, because you would wear that, or should I say, use that offense against that person. We've counseled some, given marriage counseling to a couple that was like, regularly reminding the spouse of the infidelity, and it's like, and we were, unorthodox pastors that be like, look, if you can't, we just saying what the Bible says, but most people don't say it. If you can't forgive,
I'm not sure how you're going to go forward.
Because you regularly running that man down about the mistake or the infidelity or what he did wrong. He did that. He's confessed it to you. He's apologized. He's asked for forgiveness, and he's trying to get his life together and so forth to make sure that doesn't happen again, whatever. But if you keep saying every time y'all get in an argument, you go for the assault weapon of infidelity, then it's never going to work. So just
Mama knows I got a hard question for everybody, because I love what Anita just asked. She said your heart and mind are two different things. So I asked this question to you all. Can your heart fool your mind into keeping going?
And vice versa. I'll say this. I'll equate it to an injury. Say, for instance, you cut your finger, right? And I have a cut on my finger. This finger right here. Nearly 27 years ago, I cut this finger with a razor blade, right? Sliced it open, almost went completely through the tendon. Had to have it surgically repaired by Kleiner and Kuntz. Everybody knows who they are.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that this finger was ever injured, except when I see the scar. And that's just like forgiveness. It's no longer there. You've done away with it. But your mind is automatically going to register, hey, I was hurt like that by this person once before. You have no control over that. Now, what you do control is your response to it. I argue with my pastor all the time about, forgiveness and it being cast in the sea of forgetfulness. And I say to him all the time, man, that's kind of a contradiction, right? Because your sins have been forgiven. They've been cast in the sea of forgetfulness. But we also learn as Christians that there will come a day you'll have to stand before the judgment seat and answer again for those sins. Now, we do have our Lord Jesus Christ, who's going to say, on the basis of my nail-scarred hands and my nail-scarred feet and the piercing in my side, we have that. But is it truly in the sea of forgetfulness if we have to stand before the judgment seat?
Well, the problem with this is going to sound bad. Please forgive me, Lord. The problem with the sea of forgiveness is that we still know what the sea is.
And folk be trying to drain the sea all the time.
Hey, I can still see it.
I remember throwing something in there.
It's in there somewhere.
What was that thing I threw in there? Because to truly walk in forgiveness and to walk forward, you have to decide to walk forward together.
Hold that person accountable.
Not hold them to it, and then also to truly move on from the issues. Will's problem is Jada won't move from the issues. I didn't want to marry your ass. I am in love with another man. I have allowed someone else to beat up these guts. I'm sorry. I want to talk about it publicly because that's what I do now. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. So how do you move forward when someone doesn't want to move forward? That's all we asking, cuz. If you can answer that tonight, we'll be so grateful.
How can you move forward when somebody don't want to move forward?
Don't want to move forward. Listen, in order for us to drive away from this, you got to get in the car with me. If you standing on the outside of the car and I'm begging you to get in, I'm telling you, we can get to a better place if you just get in the car with me and let's go. And you refuse to even open up the door to get in. I don't know how you're supposed to move forward.
Then you just drive off, right?
I don't want to see them. I honestly don't want to see their demise. But I also don't want to see Will do something to himself because he can't take it no more. And when a dude checks himself into a rehab place, bruh.
But why do you consider it a demise? Because they renegotiate.
Are you talking about why him leaving her? Why would it be a demise?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to see divorce. Nobody wants to see somebody get divorced if they don't have to. But I don't know what else the brother. If Will was to come to me and say, Lloyd, I've done X, I've done Y, I've done Z, and then I double back to A, B, C, D, E, and F, and G. What else do I need to do? I don't know what I would say to him other than just pray. And I don't know if that feels like a cop-out.
So what they just do a split. They just split up. They just do a separation. Would everybody be happy?
Ooh, Ron. You preached that thing just now. You must go to Slide In Missionary Baptist Church. Would everybody be? Probably. I don't know if they would, but probably. Because people love misery loves company, and there's a lot of people that don't want the Smiths happy.
So I ask this question. Is Will Smith at peace in his marriage?
This your co-pastor's on fire tonight, cuz.
Because that's what's it about.
Is that peace even important? Cuz said it ain't important. You don't need it.
You don't need peace?
He said the purpose is bigger than the peace.
The purpose is what?
It's bigger than the peace.
It's big.
He said we have a responsibility as black men to do the right thing. And that's bigger than my own peace. Am I putting words in your mouth, cuz? Am I putting words in your mouth? I'm sorry.
But does me doing the right thing means I sit in misery doing the right thing?
That's where he's sitting.
If I'm taking care of my kids, taking care of my home, raising my community, helping the community, establishing the community, helping the church and the people in the church, do I still have to have my wife?
I'm gonna let Cuz answer that.
Because everything above that is bigger than me. I'm doing the bigger than me stuff.
So where is her responsibility as a black woman and mother? Oof. Cuz I'm gonna let you answer all this because they're coming in fury. They're coming in hot right now.
I hate when broke people come ask you what's for dinner.
I have nothing else to add on the conversation.
And why is that, sir? All of a sudden you reach your limits?
Because you already understand where I stand. So me repeating it to you won't do any good.
Okay, so Will Smith comes to you.
I'm very clear.
So Will Smith comes to you tomorrow.
I will not waver.
Will Smith comes to you tomorrow. What do you say to him?
Let that man fight for his marriage. However he wants to, however long he wants to, let that man fight for his marriage. And we as men should lift him up in prayer and in every corner of the universe. Man, fight for your marriage.
I'm not sure that's the same question that I'm asking.
What?
I'm asking you if Will decided that he can do all the things he wants to do, but he wants to find peace for himself. Is that an unfair thing for him to do?
You know,
not peace for self, peace for his peoples.
A lot of this to me is pretense. Most men that are married could be a lot happier if they were single.
Oh my.
There's a lot of responsibility, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of denying of self that goes on in a marriage. The things that I want for myself, I don't really buy for myself. The places I want to go, I really don't even go. The things I want to do, I really don't do the things I really want to do. There's a lot of sacrifices that we all make in our marriages for the good of our marriages. Now, if you're doing everything you want to do in your marriage, then God bless you and your marriage. But most of us make sacrifices in our marriage. With sacrifices, it is not a natural human thing to do. You have to be willing to look at the greater good, the long game.
Even to your own hurt is what you're saying.
It's kind of like eating what you want to eat whenever you want to eat. Yeah, you're gonna satisfy yourself for that moment, but the long game, you're losing. So you can do whatever you want to in your marriage to make yourself happy or to give yourself peace, whatever it is you're trying to find.
But you can't say it's for the long haul if you have limitations.
Listen. I mean,
you can't. You
guys feel?
No. I'm going off.
Change my mind on this issue.
I'm going off of what you told us. There are limitations in the marriage, right or wrong.
For every marriage, you should have.
And when you hit that limitation,
absolutely. But
you got two choices when you hit that limitation. Do you stay and go beyond that limitation, or do you cut and run?
You have to understand, love is the wild card. Commitment is the wild card.
But if Will comes to you and says, "Cuz I have reached my limitation, I can't do no more. I can't go no more, man."
I have never advised anyone to get a divorce.
Okay.
God cast out angels for doing shit beyond the limitation. We're saying that you can't cast a woman out. If the man upstairs can't cast people out, we can't.
Oh, I understand.
You can do whatever you want to do. For me, I'm gonna fight for mine.
Okay.
And I understand that, and in a sense, I appreciate that. However, I don't think that him running himself in the ground should be the ultimate sacrifice. If what you are fighting for is destroying you, what's the purpose of fighting for it?
Exactly.
If you are a broken person,
we're willing to work our fingers to the bone. We're willing to work ourselves to our grave. But
that's hilarious that you equate a relationship to a job. It's not nothing identical. But if you're fighting for marriage and at the same time you're tearing yourself down, you are wasting your time, because you're going to be worthless to the marriage, to the family which you are fighting for. If he destroys himself in the process of fighting for the marriage, the whole relationship is useless.
I would argue, just very simplistically, if you are at the point where you are walking on stages in front of hundreds of millions of people, you're probably in a bad place. You're probably in a very, very, very bad place. Keep in mind, to Tony's point, minutes, seconds after he slapped Chris Rock, his son said, "And that's how we do it."
Well, his son got a lot of problems, so let's not even go down that rabbit hole.
Well, but that's the point, Ron. Like what Al said, is there a point when staying is doing more damage than it is helping? I would argue, because one of the reasons why you have stayed and fought is because at some point, that woman, the fight that you put in, that woman said, "I honor this fight and I'm going to join him."
Don't speak for me.
I'm just saying, it appears that
can do a good enough job.
It appears that she's fighting with you.
Everything on the outside ain't what's going on the inside.
Okay, all right.
That's why it's so difficult to judge people's marriages by what you see.
That is true.
People gonna show you who they are. When they show you, you better believe it.
Show you what they want to show you.
They're gonna show you who they are. You better believe it.
Most people send out their representative. They don't tell you who they really are.
Nah, they show you who they really are. The representative only gonna show you so much. Niggas, people gonna be people.
We're only in your life so much. We're not really in your life.
Sorry.
You can't hide who you really are. You can hide who you really are from people that don't live with you.
The Smith household reminds me of one of my favorite shows, Storage Wars. When they get ready to auction off a storage unit, they open the door. It's up to you to look around and see what you see and place value on it. They just open the door.
I thought you were going to say Twilight Zone, dude, to be honest.
Will and Jada opened the door, especially Jada. She cut the lock off the unit. And so they allowed us to peek in and determine what's inside and what the value of what's inside is.
This is a hard conversation. It's a hard conversation. And one thing we never really addressed, the other side of this, what is the responsibility of the black women? But have no fear, tomorrow, because we go to the morning session tomorrow, we have a few ladies stopping by tomorrow morning, because we switch back just for one day, y'all. Just for one day, we switch back to the morning time, and we will have a few ladies come in and have a conversation about joining us to have a conversation about, are we in this together?
Now you're gonna re-air the morning show at 7?
No, not tomorrow. We may re-air that show, today's show, on Thursday.
Okay.
Matter of fact, just we actually have a couple of things going on Thursday. Because you guys, I didn't have a chance to tell y'all yet. We are off Thursday. We got some things to talk about behind the scenes, but we may have something going on Thursday. You know what?
That's what I'm laughing at, dude. That's petty.
You know what?
Ladies first. Don't you do it, Jay Joyner? Don't you do it? You just zip your lips. Lloyd, mute him. Because you know what he be doing in the private chat. So
I know.
Ooh, ladies first. Ladies first.
Perfect timing on that, though. That was perfect timing, boy.
You wrong for that.
You wrong for that. You wrong for it.
All right, y'all. We gotta let everybody go. Man, this is a tough subject, man. It's a tough subject. This is a tough subject, and I cannot wait to hear tomorrow's show because it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. This is a tough subject, though, and I know because let me say this: I don't disagree with you about fighting for your marriage. I fought for mine. I fought tooth and nail with everything I have, and I'm still fighting for mine. I see Ron fighting for his. We fight, man. That's what we do. We warriors. We go in and we fight the devil, and sometimes fight each other, and we fighting for this thing.
As soon as she start fighting, her ass is gone.
I just ain't never seen nobody have to fight. I think celebrity marriages fail because they got to fight everybody. I heard a pastor say one time, and he got into a fight with a soldier, and they put him in the what is it? Solitary? Is it solitary? They put him in solitary, and one of his commanding officers came to him to talk to him, and he said, "Why did you fight that guy?" He said, "Because he called me out my name. He called me a nigger." He said, "If 10 white guys would have called you a nigger, would you have fought all of them?" And he said, "No, because I can't fight 10 people." And his point was, it's a lot harder to fight a lot of people than it is to fight one.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I ain't saying you're wrong, cuz I'm just saying it's hard, man. This is a hard situation. And I don't want to see Will. I don't want to see Will be a tragic story.
And it's not just Will. I mean, I know we're using him as today.
Anybody, right? Anybody.
But it's really anybody, because people are going through the same thing Will is going through.
Yeah,
they're not getting this TV show stuff because people are not throwing it on.
Well, but Ron, that's true, but it's not true, because there are people who are going through stuff and fighting for their marriage, but they ain't. But I don't know nothing about it.
That's what I'm saying. It's about Will because it's publicized. But
therein lies the point.
Yeah, but
I don't know about these other people. I know about this guy because it's all in my face.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's people going through the same thing. They're just not in the public eye going through the same. They're just not being talked about. They're in the public eyes. People go through this shit all the time. People are just talking about it because it's Will Smith and he's on TV all the damn time.
Okay.
Brothers get cheated on all the time. Women get cheated on all the time. People are fighting for their marriage all the time, and people leaving their marriage all the time.
Okay. Cuz you don't look happy today. You normally come in with an exuberance. And I think
because once I've said what I've said, that's all I'm going to say.
He said what he said when he said what he said, that he said what he said.
Okay. Once I've said what
I don't have to convince you to agree with me. I know what I'm going to do.
Well, we all doing that. You ain't doing nothing special.
What we need are more men doing. What we need are more men doing just that.
That's true. That's very true.
Too many men that their cutoff game is too strong. They're willing to cut that bitch off too fast. You heard what I said, Mama knows. I meant what I said too. They're willing to cut her off too fast.
Oh, damn.
We're not willing to stay and fight for that woman.
Is Will one of those guys?
You're gonna call it the B, and they're gonna talk about we ain't willing to fight for that woman.
Does seem like a conflict, Mama knows.
Don't let the words offend you. These are just
words. Is that a part of that? When I told myself said, huh?
Don't let the words offend you. These are just words. The bottom line, you say you fight for that woman. That's just what I believe in. I'm just an old country guy. And listen, I don't need no accolades. I don't need nobody feeling sorry for me and wonder whether I'm gonna cut my throat and all that bullshit. I'm gonna stay in my marriage to the day I die. Now, if that bitch kill me, that's it. That's what happened. But I stayed to the day I died.
Yeah, she got rid of you. That poison worked a long way.
Okay.
You was in it. She wasn't. That's why your ass is gone.
Just, I get it. I get it.
I told my wife just today. This God truth. True story. True story.
Is this a true story?
We were discussing that issue in New York City with the gun violence, and she made a statement that I totally disagreed with. That what we need is everybody needs to have a gun. So wait a minute, you got 9 million people packed up in there like sardines, and everybody packing. That's problematic. We don't need. Everybody doesn't need to have a gun. And I say, here you are advocating for everybody to have a gun, and you don't own a gun. And I say, and thanks be to God you don't, because if you did back in the day, you probably would have shot my ass by now.
Oh my!
That's true conversation between a husband and a wife.
Did she say you're right? I would have shot you. Did she say that?
Well, she kind of went radio silence.
Which is an indication that was an indication. That was a nice way of saying you right, nigga. Hey, touche, nigga, touche.
Usually gonna get shot in the ass and you get shot in the kneecap. It's one of the two.
As a man, you haven't spent at least 1 or 2 nights going to bed with a little bit of fear. Is this heifer as crazy as I think she is?
If you don't do it before you get married, something wrong.
Oh, I close both eyes, or should I sit with one eye open? If you ain't never had that experience as a man, then I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I say,
this is right, Mama? Isn't that right, Mama? No.
Should you feel like you?
Mama knows I have never gone to bed in our marriage.
I do not fear my wife, but when you're getting to know someone, you don't really know what they are capable of doing. Sometimes
there's only been one night where I felt like Mama Noise was ready to square up.
That's what I'm saying.
But that was in the dating process, though. In the marriage, not so much.
We've all had that.
Yeah.
How crazy.
Yeah. That day, I did think she was ready to square up. She's like, "Oh, she ready." Or she thinks she's ready.
It happens.
Yeah.
Is she gonna try something?
I'm just thankful my wife didn't have a gun.
Woo!
Y'all talking about Jamaicans will cut you.
They will cut you.
I ain't scared of no knife.
I say, this has been an interesting show today.
Enough is enough, wasn't it?
To be continued. When is enough? And I'm very curious about tomorrow's show too. I can't wait to hear what's going to be said tomorrow? Are we in this together? Are we in this together? Am I out here?
If we're so interested in peace, then that means we would on here agree with what Jenner did to his family. He was just in search of peace.
Oh my! Look at Cuz throwing the late curveball.
A piece of ass or a piece of mind?
Well, Jenner changed up his old gender because he wanted peace.
He wanted peace.
Are you talking about PIECE or PE?
No, he wanted.
No, I'm not talking about piece of ass. No, I'm not.
Well, I mean, just to be clear,
he changed his sex because he wanted peace. He didn't feel like he was who he was supposed to be. So us men on here would agree with him doing that because he was in search of peace.
I'm gonna say the whole world agree with him doing that because ain't not one person pissed off about what he's doing.
Us men on here, I ain't talking about the world now.
Did he find his peace? He's happy he left his marriage. His wife is fine. His kids are good.
I'll speak. I can't co-sign it, but you know that's what you did. So, but I don't co-sign it. Yeah,
so
I don't.
He was okay with it.
I'm fine.
That doesn't feel like the route to peace to me, but you know,
I'm fine with it.
B, was you okay with him doing that?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not okay with the fact that he decided to become a woman. I'm okay with the fact that he realized that he wasn't sincere in his relationship. He was not committed. He didn't feel at one with his spouse. So I am okay with him leaving, because I think he would have done more damage to those younger girls than he did with those older girls by perpetrating a fraud in a relationship just to say we're married.
Yep.
Nothing pisses me off more than married people
Faking it,
telling divorced people that they didn't fight or they should have fought for their marriage.
Say that one more again.
Nothing pisses me off more than a married person telling me, a divorced person, that I should have stuck around and fought for my marriage.
Correct.
I would much rather you say, brother, be happy.
do what's right for you. Do what's right for your family. If that means you got to go, you got to go.
Well, Pastor, we're gonna part ways on this subject right here. Go my way, you gonna have to go yours. Listen,
I'll meet up in the parking lot and work that shit out.
On this here subject right here, we're gonna part ways.
That's what I'm saying. On this one, y'all just have to go to separate restaurants this Sunday. Next Sunday, y'all come back and we'll do something different.
Because as a man that was in a marriage that had relations and produced kids from the marriage, if at the age of 60, whatever he was, you decide that you something else, in my humble opinion, you take that shit to your grave. You don't change your family's whole dynamic for your need to be at peace. So you gonna ruin those kids' example of who their father was for your goddamn peace?
And if he stayed being a toxic male who got caught cheating on his wife with a man, is much more damaging to those kids than him coming out and telling them the truth, telling them first what he's going to do.
Well, I can't think of nothing in my life as I think about my old man. My daddy was a man's man. He was a real man. I couldn't imagine old Luther Lee coming and saying, I have decided that I'm a woman.
Would you respect Luther Lee more?
You have done to your boys to say, I'm a woman?
Would you, if he came and told you that, versus you finding out the other way, which one would hurt worse?
Listen, those kids, the big ones and the little ones, they all struggled with that. That was traumatic to that family.
Yeah, I didn't say they're not going to struggle.
They had to counselor and talk to Jesus about it, because that was what man throws a hand grenade in the middle of his damn family?
Yeah, but what man sticks around and lets his family watch him near the brink of suicide, depression, anxiety, because he's struggling, trying to hide the fact that he feels like a woman? You said, and I rarely agree with you, but you said a man should always put himself at the end and do what's right for his wife and his kids.
Well, more often than not, we as men, we do that. Whether we blame it or not, that's exactly what we're doing.
Right.
Watching your fake father deteriorate because they are struggling emotionally and mentally, is that what's best for your wife and your kids? Probably not. I mean, it could very well be a lose-lose situation.
Right.
He damned if he did, he damned if he didn't.
From my understanding, he had those feelings back when he was an Olympiad.
But
he always felt that way, yet he kept doing what he was doing.
I would argue that he has probably been doing damage to his family the whole damn time. Because if you lying to your wife and to your family about who you are, just to demonstrate that you're a man, you're not helping us.
Not at all.
Yeah, but
you're just as toxic
yourself, man. I mean, come on, guys.
Listen, I understand what you're saying, but a lie is a lie is a lie. That's why. And so you're either lying on one side or you're lying on the other side.
That's why I said maybe in this instance it was a lose-lose situation.
And maybe this is a bad example to what we're ultimately talking about. When is enough enough? Because he just decided to just live the lie on out, and finally he said, "Well, now I'm gonna let," like Andy Bruce said, "Now I'm gonna live my truth." Well, your truth is as damaging as your lie.
I sacrificed all. But how old were the girls when he came out?
Well, they're older. They were 18, 19.
Yeah, they were really grown.
Yeah, so I get it.
He's like Popeye. He did all he could. He could do no more.
He could do no more. He ate glass of spinach and he was done.
And somehow we found our way back to Will Smith. Okay, let's go ahead and close out. That's all I can. Can't do no more. That's what I said. Let's close out here. We got to go. Another great show. We'll be back again in the morning at our regular. Well, I say our regular at our 11:15 time, and that's only on Wednesdays. Y'all
Old Testament. That's Old
Testament. That's Old Testament. Y'all get used to the schedule at some point. 11:15 time. We'll do that. Then the 5 is tomorrow night. And then we will have an announcement tomorrow once we've confirmed some things tonight. So, all right, until then, thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Y'all are thebomb.com. Yeah, we out this piece. Mama Noise, sing us a song home.
Jesus is all.
Okay, we'll be done, Mama Noise.
We're talking.